ladies and gentlemen, the wait is nearly over. In just 7 hours from right now, I will have access to College Football 25. Please be fun. Sadly, today's video isn't going to be college football because the game don't come out till 3, but there will be college football the rest of the week. And as far as today goes, well, we're just going to be going back on NFL Reddit. And I'm sorry if it's going to be repetitive to somebody. I know I just did this on Friday, but I cannot focus on anything else right now. And I feel like a lot of people are probably the same way. So real quick, before we hop right into the video, do not forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks, where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. But that's all I got for plugs today. Let's get into NFL Reddit. All right, folks, so the first thing we are going to talk about is something that was extremely tragic that happened this last weekend, and that is Jacoby Jones, former Ravens wide receiver, has passed away. Now, I am the last guy to try and fill you guys with a bunch of, untrue rumors when this kind of stuff happens, so the only thing I have read is that he died in his sleep in his home, and that's all they know at the moment. At least that's all I know, and that's all I'm going to say on it. Terrible news. I pray his family gets the healing that they need, and rest in peace, Jacoby Jones. All right, next piece of news is just about as negative as the last, but Jordan Addison was arrested near the Los Angeles airport for an alleged DUI. Now, again, I will not fill you guys with rumors. I will fill you guys with what I have read. I will fill you guys with the information I have gathered from sources like CBS and the Minnesota Vikings themselves. What is confirmed about this is that Jordan Addison was indeed passed out behind the wheel of his white Rolls Royce near the Los Angeles airport at 11:36 p.m., blocking Elena traffic. That happened. What also happened is he was arrested and released 2 hours later. Okay, that right there eliminates the probability of him being hammered. They would not let him fucking go if he was drunk. Also, if you're thinking he could have sobered up in his sleep, alcohol stays in your system for a long ass time, man. It ain't gonna go away in 2 hours. So with that being said, I pray that he was just exhausted and going home. I don't know what, but I pray this was an accident on his part, a true accident, and nothing more comes out of it. Now, if it comes out that this guy was in any way, shape, or form inebriated by a controlled substance, he needs to be fucking released. And no, that's not being too harsh. This is a guy who's a huge fan of him, a guy who has a box full of his rookie cards that he's been saving up. But the fact is, even if he's just a young 22-year-old, which a lot of people are already using as an excuse for him, if it does come back as, a DUI, a true one, so he was inebriated by something. His teammate fucking died 2 weeks ago because somebody under the influence was driving a vehicle, ran into him, and killed him. Kid or not kid, if that didn't get through his head that you can't do that, he needs to fucking go. And again, we don't know if that happened. I pray it didn't. I pray it's an accident. But damn, man, especially with his, speeding violation last year that he ended up getting away with, he's not painting a good image for himself. This is a good one. What's the best call you've ever heard an announcer make in-game? There's two that come to mind right away, and it can go from any sport here, but one is Joe Buck in the Minneapolis Miracle. Keenum steps into it, passes caught, digs, sideline, touchdown, unbelievable, the Vikings win it. He does it a lot better than me. And the other one, believe it or not, was actually Michael Cole at WrestleMania 40 when he did the finish the story call when Cody pinned Roman Reigns. That was pretty bone rattling. This is a good question. It says, which NFL players were given up on too early? Well, I think a pretty clear one now would be the Browns and Baker Mayfield, but one that's a little bit more out of the way, I should say. One that people probably wouldn't expect me to say, especially I don't think I've been too nice to this guy. I used to love him, but I think Washington kind of gave up on Antonio Gibson, like, way too fast. And that's nothing against B-Rob. Gibson was actually good, man. It was in 2021 where he had his best season, and it was also in 2021 where he had 6 fumbles, and the team's like, hey, we're not gonna give you another chance to redeem yourself. Fuck off. Like, dead ass, go look at 2021. He had like almost 1,400 yards and 10 total touchdowns. He was productive too. Like, they just literally said, you fumble the ball, fuck you. All right, next piece of news is on Haagens. It says that they will not do an extension by Monday's deadline in Cincinnati. However, he did sign his franchise tag. He will play on it and then be one of the top free agents in the 2025 offseason. Well, good for T. I guess he's going to eventually get what he wants, except if he does all this and just ends up going back to Cincy next offseason, like, I'm going to be fucking irritated. Here's some encouraging news out of Atlanta. It says that they plan to use Kyle Pitts as a tight end and a wide receiver. That's a great idea. I just want to know why they haven't been doing that already, idiots. Great question here. Name a player whose legacy is more impressive or notorious than their production. Joe Namath. Easy. I'm sure you've heard of him, right? Broadway Joe, you know, the legend, the icon. He was fucking ass. So first, let's look at Joe's accolades here. I mean, Hall of Fame, Pro Bowls, All-Pro, AFL Championship, Super Bowl Championship, Super Bowl MVPs, Rookie of the Years. You would expect him to be fantastic, right? Yeah, think again. And I'm not just trying to be a box score watcher here. My dad is the one who originally told me about how horrible this guy was. This is my dad's pick to remove someone from the Hall of Fame if he had the chance to do it. 62, 63, and 4 record, 50% completion percentage, 27,000 pass yards, 173 touchdowns to 220 picks. Look on him from a year-by-year basis here. He had completion percentages below 50 over half the time he played in the league. Out of his 13 years, this guy threw more picks than touchdowns 11 times. Like, he was asshole. I like this one a lot. What is one player that never gets talked about but actually had or has a sneaky good career? So tight ends, I feel like, are really easy to talk about in this situation, and one that comes to my mind right away would be Hunter Henry. Another one who doesn't play anymore that comes to my mind is Vernon Davis. He was always incredibly solid. But two more players who I think are even more, you know, a little bit under the radar than those two, just because they've been overlooked by so many people in their position. One is Devin Singletary, and the other one, believe it or not, is Amari Cooper. He has been fucking elite since he's been in the league, and every year it seems like people are just kind of trying to find reasons to not call him good anymore. I mean, holy shit, man. Like, this is Amari Cooper's career. And this actually makes me think of another receiver, Brandon Cooks. Go look up him once. Like, Brandon Cooks was a fucking dog too. Still is, but he's just playing second fiddle to CeeDee Lamb, and you're not gonna get past that. If I'm being honest, this should be a video on its own. This one says, which team would be hurt most by loss of their quarterback? Oh, the Bills, 100%. No question about it. We are fucked without Josh Allen, man. Like, absolutely screwed. I know for a fact we were not beating Pittsburgh in the playoffs if it wasn't for Josh Allen. I know for a fact the Bills are probably a 6-win team without Josh Allen. This one's fun. It says, does anyone have a player that wasn't good but you still love? Now, not only do I know everybody has a player like this, but mine's actually from when I watched college football back in like 2015, 2016, 2017. Anybody remember Kelly Bryant, the quarterback? He was on Clemson, then he went to Missouri. He was ass, but I loved him. The guy had over 10 rushing touchdowns one year, man. Like, he was low-key electric. All right, this one says, what positions on your team have always sucked? Now, I'll give one for the Bills and the Vikings, but we'll do the Bills first because I honestly feel like the Bills have had a pretty complete team in recent years. However, up until, you know, we got Dalton Kincaid, and as much as I like Dawson Knox, I feel like as long as I've been watching anyway, the tight end has always been kind of blech. Charles Clay, Lee Smith, if you can even count him, he got his 5 passes a fucking year. Scott Chandler hadn't been great. Now, the Vikings, that's a really easy one. Does anybody want to guess before I say it? What position for the Minnesota Vikings notoriously has always been ass? What position for the Vikings notoriously has always fucked them over? I'll give it to the count of 3. 1, kicker. The kicker. It's always been ass. It's literally a curse. And even if we do have kickers who will be accurate the whole year, the most important kick at the end or in the playoffs, they will miss. Like, the Vikings just do not and have not had a clutch kicker since I've started watching. Blair Walsh, he was elite for 1 year. Then all of a sudden, he started to suck. Dan Bailey came in. He was great for 1 year. Then he sucked. Daniel Carlson, we drafted. He was so bad we cut him, and now he's elite. Like, we can't get it right. And ending here, we just have a kind of an interesting post about Lamar's MVP season last year, and that was how Randall Cunningham had a 2023 Lamar-type season a decade before Lamar was even born. Shows right here Randall's first full year as a starter in 1988, and then Jackson's MVP season. Randall had more pass yards, they had the same amount of touchdowns, Randall had more picks, Lamar had more rushing yards, but Randall had more rushing touchdowns. Now, they go on to say, obviously Cunningham had more picks, but it was also in an era where turnovers were just more common. Another way of looking at this is to see where those guys ranked in the same categories for their respective seasons. Meaning Randall's rookie season, he finished 3rd in passing yards, 4th in pass touchdowns, 7th in picks, 24th in rush yards, and 20th in rush touchdowns. Lamar was 15th in yards, 11th in touchdowns, was 26th in picks, which is great, then only 22nd in rush yards, and 24th in rushing touchdowns. Now, the point isn't for me to sit here and rag on Lamar, but the point is for me to show from a statistical standpoint, you know, pretty much how little he had to do to win the MVP. Like, he put up an extremely similar season as to who someone back in 1988 did, which, by the way, in 1988, that didn't even earn Randall Cunningham an all-pro spot. It's just kind of crazy. And that is gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen, for today's Reddit video. Hope you guys liked this video, and again, I'm sorry if it was repetitive, but if you want to show support, you know I appreciate any and all help. However, in the meantime, I'm gonna get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Have a great Monday, and I will see you all tomorrow for College Football 25.